Before I introduce the next person, I would like to say a small memory about Maman joon. میدونم که مامان جون ما رو خیلی دوست داشت. هر تولدی که داشتیم میومد و با خوشی و با کادو می آورد. و هر وقت مامان جون رو میدیدیم مطمئن میکرد که صورتمون رو بوس کنه. نذاشت کنار صورتم رو بوس کنه یا موام و اگه یک کمی کلمو کج میکردم عصبانی میشد و میگفته صورتتو ببنده. میدونستم که اینجوری مامان جون عشقش رو به ما میخواست بده. Now I would like to invite my mother and Maman Joon's first grandchild, Ida Shafa Akhavan, to please come up and speak.
مادر بزرگ من خانم محترم زاهدی در روز 30 ژانویه 2019 چشم از این دنیا بست و سال 2020 را در دنیای جاودانی و مکانی بالاتر و بهتر از اینجا با رفتگان خودش همنشین شد. روز خاکسپاری به یکی از دوستان گفتم She almost made it to 2020. دوستم گفت No, she checked into a better place for 2020. و حرفش خیلی معنی داشت. مادر بزرگ من مامان جون زنی بسیار قانع و بسیار کوشا بود. رک و راست حرفشو میزد. از هر انگشتش یک هنر میدید. آشپزی چک، خیاطی چک، گلدوزی، قلابافی، بافتنی رو اون به من یاد داد. سرمانی، دوا درمان، هندیمن، قهرمان تخت نرد و حتی فامیلی کانسلر. همیشه به دختره من میگفت که باید درس بخونن و مدرک بگیرن. وقتی که نگین زیاد میرفت اسرائیل رو میومد به من میگفت نبادا بذاری زن پسر اسرائیلی بشه. باشه مامان جون. مامان جون دارای 8 تا نوه و 5 تا نتیجه بود. I'm going to provide a brief summary for those of us who don't speak English. My grandmother was very hardworking. She was modest and she was selfless. She was very talented. She was a master chef. She was a tailor. She was a hairdresser. She created beautiful handmade knittings and stitching. She was a handyman. She was a backgammon champion, and she was a family counselor. She basically raised her brothers and sisters, as well as her own children and grandchildren. And 5 great-grandchildren. مامان جون 3 فرزند نمونه به این جامعه تحویل داد. فلورا، مادر من، خانمی تحصیل کرده، با شخصیت، متین، با وقار، با محبت، مادری فداکار، دختری دلسوز، صبور و زحمتکش که با نهایت از خودگذشتگی و تمام مشکلات روحی و جسمی خودش به بهترین نحو ممکن از مامان پرستاری کرد. همه ما ازت متشکریم. بیژن، مردی نامدار، تحصیل کرده، یک بیزنسمن خودساخته، یک مرد از خود رسته تکیه‌گاه بی‌پناهان که با نهایت محبت و رسیدگی از مادرش نگهداری کرد. سوزن یک خانم تحصیل کرده، خوشرو، گرم، صمیمی، با محبت، خوش‌صحبت و سخت‌کوش که با تمام گرفتاری‌های شخصی و جسمی خودش با عمل ظالمی که کرده بود از نگهداری و پرستاری مامان جون برگزیده کرد. من مطمئن هستم که نشانه‌های مامان جون و آقا جون به وجود هر سه نفر شما افتخار می‌کنه. مامان جون دختر بزرگ خانواده خودش بود. از زور دنیا و از فرهنگ قدیم ایران مجبور شد فن و فتح بچه‌داری و خانه‌داری از سن خیلی کم یاد بگیره. برای تمام خواهران و برادران خودش یک پا مادر بود. همه اونا رو ترفش میکرد و بزرگ کرد. حتی با پس‌انداز کردن برادرش رو صاحب خانه کرد. با امکانات محدود خودش همیشه از نظر مالی به برادران و خواهران خودش چه در ایران چه در اسرائیل با سخاوتمندی کمک میکرد. بچه‌های اونها رو مثل بچه‌های خودش دوست داشت. حتی به جرئت میتونم بگم که خواهران و برادرای خودش رو همیشه قبل از خودش و قبل از بچه‌های خودش قرار داده بود. عاشق همشون بود. پایه یک سلسله بود. با رفتنش پایه این سلسله لرزید ولی فرو نرفت و فقدان وجودش کاملا پیداست. درسته که شاید همیشه اونجوری که میخواست زندگی نکرد ولی درست همون جوری که میخواست زندگی رو ترک کرد. مثل یک گل پاک با آرامش در کنار هر سه فرزندش. سه فرزندی که این پایه را مستقر نگه خواهند داشت. جاش خالیه واقعا اینجا و من هنوز باورم نمیشه که پیش من نیست. ممنون از همگی. این کاغذ رو الان به دست من دادن که این چند نکته‌ام براتون بخونم. نکاتی چند درباره مادرم از بیژن واحدی. مرحوم محترم واحدی، نوه حرام حکیم آقا جان و راب بزرگ کرمانشاه و دختر حبیبه و بابا جان واحدی در سال 1927 میلادی یعنی 92 سال پیش در کرمانشاه به دنیا آمد. ایشون در سن 21 سالگی با پسرعموی خود سلیمان واحدی جون شاد باشه ازدواج کرد و صاحب سه فرزند به نام‌های فلورا، بیژن و سوسن شد. از ازدواج دختر بزرگش با فلورا، دختر بزرگش فلورا با ایرج شفا صاحب سه نوه به نام‌های آیدا نمبر 1 آیدین و آرش شد. از ازدواج نوه بزرگش آیدا با رامین اخوان صاحب دو نتیجه به اسمای نگین و اشلی شد. از طریق ازدواج پسرش بیژن با خانم ساریا ریوانی صاحب سه نوه بیوتیفول شرلی، فرود و جانجان شد. از طریق ازدواج دختر کوچکش سوسن با بهروز لاله‌زاری صاحب دو نوه پسری به نام‌های بابک و سپر شد. که مانیکا پسر سوسن با پسر بزرگ سوسن بابک ازدواج کردن و صاحب سه تا great grandchildren بنجامین، لیا و یونا هستن. مادر بزرگ من از کرمانشاه به تهران و از سپس به اتریش و بعد به آمریکا مهاجرت کرد و در کمال هوشیاری عقلی و سلامتی کامل بدنی تا لحظه آخر عمرش در منزل خودش که خواستش همین بود در منزل خودش عمر را سپری کرد و در آغوش بچه‌هایش به اولام. از همگی متشکرم.
At this time, I would like to invite Arash Shafa, Maman's grandson, to speak.
مرسی که اومدین. مامان جون یک مادر بزرگ، خواهر، عمه، مادر گرامی و یک یار قدیمی و صدیق بود که امروز از بین ما رفته است و به دنیای ابدی و یادش در افراد زنده است. از او خاطرات خوبی دارم. شما اسرائیل را او به من آموخت. داستان یوسف کنعان به من شبها به حالت قصه میگفت و با گفتنش احساساتی میشد و گریان میشد. تخته‌نرد را او به من آموخت که هر وقت میآمد منزل ما تخته‌نرد بازی میکردیم. هر وقت وارد میشد انگار برقی برقا آمده است. او مرا به مرافعی میداد و من روی مرافعی میگرداند. بهترین بازی بچگی بود و امروز ما به مرافع گذاشتیم و به خاک سپردیم. روحش شاد. به راستی انگار که دیروز بود که از شب‌های زمستان به دور کرسی می‌نشستیم. دور دوستان، پیشان و فامیلاش و یاد درست کردن شربت‌های در زمستان و شیرینی‌پزی آن همیشه رجا خواهد ماند. او هیچ وقت بین یداهایش فرقی نمی‌ذاشت. همه ما یک نوع دوست داشت. برایم پفک می‌آورد و این روزا که هر وقت می‌گفت ضعیف شدم و داشتم می‌میرم می‌گفتم با پفک رو خود به جون می‌گیریم و هم شوخی‌های خاصی داشتیم. به هر حال نوبتمون هم رسید. از مادرم، دایی، بیشن، خاله سوسن که لحظه و هر شب شبات با ما بودن و هر زن بودن با دقایق آخر و به روز دیگه کردن انتخاب می‌کنم و ممنون هستیم. و این همه لطف و مهد شما فرزندان شایسته دارد و نوه‌ها و نتیجه‌هایی که خوبی دارد که به این دنیا به این جامعه داده است. روح شاد، یادش گرامی باد.
I'm sorry, if you have a Jeep in the driveway or a Toyota license plate ends in 402 and the Jeep is 656, you're blocking the way. So if you could please move, thank you. I would now like to invite Shirley Vahedi, Mamanjun's granddaughter, to please come up and speak.
Take the microphone to your my microphone doesn't go.
First and foremost, I would like to thank all my family and friends for coming tonight. I would like to say a few words about my grandmother, Maman June. Unfortunately, I did not have the privilege of being close to Maman June in my younger years until I came to America. And I got a chance to get to know her more and become closer. Maman June, I will never forget your kind words. You welcomed me with big arms. You believed in me. You were such a strong and independent woman. You loved all of your grandkids in the same way. I never put You love all of your grandkids in the same way. I never differences between us and always treated us equally. You were very hospitable every time we came to visit you. You always would make us eat when we would come there to visit. You would have food set up on the table and had chai ready for us. I won't forget the times we had together and the cherished memories I have of you. We all loved the Shabbat dinners that we would come over and spend time with all of us. I also remember the times you would always be sewing and knitting, and I would love sitting next to you and learning from you, and you inspired me to knit beautiful things. Maman, you were going to truly be missed, but always remain in my heart forever. We love you so much. I would like to now say a poem. God saw you getting tired, and the cure was not to be. So he put his arm around you and whispered, "Come to me." With the beautiful eyes, we watched you as you slowly slipped away. And though we loved you dearly, we couldn't make you stay. Your golden heart stopped beating, and you tried hands and to rest. God broke our hearts to prove us he only takes the very best.
Maman Joon, she always gave me and my sister the best advice. She would tell us every time we would come visit from school that the most important thing was to stay in school and to study. Also, every time my sister and I would come back from Israel and kept coming back and forth and would go visit her, she would make sure before we left to tell us in our ear, "Don't ever marry an Israeli boy." I don't know what she had against Israeli boys, but I told her, "I know, Maman Joon, don't worry." I'm going to miss her advice, and I'm very, very lucky that I got to spend 24 years of my life with my great-grandma. Now I would like to invite Babak Lalazari, Maman Joon's grandson, to please come up and speak.
Hello, thank you everybody for coming. I struggled a lot with whether or not I was going to say this in English or Farsi. I think in English, and it's more for me than it is for you, so I just went ahead with English. If anybody wants me to translate it later, I'm happy to do it. I know you're going to hear a lot about Maman Joon from other people, and I think that's great. What I think is important for me to share with you guys is what I learned from her, and particularly during her last maybe about 7 years or so. My earliest memory of her is the one that's actually very sad. We were leaving Iran, and I just remember hysterically crying. When I was younger, I would spend a lot of time with her, and I was terribly sad, and that's about all I remember from being very, very young. And then my teenage years came, and Megan alluded to this earlier. Maman Joon would, in all of her affection, she would sniff up on you and say, "Oh, come here, let me give you a kiss." And she'd go, and she'd smell you, and then she'd give you kisses. I always thought it was very strange. And I would pull back and I would say, "What is she doing?" And my mom would look at me and say, "No, don't worry about it, it's because she loves you." And then came my 20s. There was a little bit of the same feeling, and it was, a relationship. I would see her, she would be at all of the memories that we had and all of that, and it was fantastic. And then after I had kids, everything changed, and I started to understand why she would kiss up on me and how much affection she had for us. And it's because she loved us so much. I find myself doing it to my daughter and my 2 boys now, And all I want to do is hold them and hug them and kiss them and smell them and just be affectionate to them. And that's what she was doing. I never understood it until I had kids. I never understood it until she would be with my kids and I would see it, and then a light clicked and I said, oh, that's what that is. Honestly, I think she loved my kids probably even more than I love my kids at times, and that's saying a lot. One of the things that made me terribly sad about her passing is my kids are not old enough to remember her. I really don't think they will. My oldest is 7, and then 5, and then 2, and it makes me terribly, terribly, terribly sad to know that they're not going to remember who Maman Joon is. They won't have the same connection that I had with her, and that makes me very sad. But what I realized in her passing is the memory of Maman Joon was not for my children to remember. It was my children who were put here so that Maman Joon could enjoy them. And she will forever have that always. I wish she would have been able to be around longer so that she would have more memories of them and they would remember her. But unfortunately, that's not something that I can control. So I will have the memory of her kissing up on my kids and really enjoying them and loving them really to no end. She left a lot behind. One of the most amazing things that I was able to witness is the bond that Daibijan and Khaleh and my mom have together. When you see these three, they're really thick as thieves. It's very heartwarming to see. I really hope that I get to see the age that she saw and the perspectives that are going to be brought to me, living as old as she did, leaving behind the things that she did. I hope I can raise my children to have, great-grandchildren that are as respectful as we are. And if you guys take anything away from Maman Joon passing, I think you should remember perspective, remember your loved ones. You have the opportunity now while they're still here to tell them you love them. If you got something to apologize for, then apologize for that. And, I think she would have wanted me to leave you with that lesson. So I'll leave you with that lesson in her memory. And I hope everybody lives just as long as she did and as fruitful of a life as she did. Thank you guys for coming.
At this time, I would like to welcome Setper Lalazari, Maman Joon's grandson, to please come up and speak.
We are here to remember my grandmother, we lovingly called Maman Joon. I want to thank you all for being here today. Although فارسیم زیاد خوب نیست، آخر این یه ترجمه فارسی هم بدم. My grandmother was a selfless person. She lived her life in service to others. From my earliest memories of her, that's all I can remember. I don't remember her ever saying, I want or need anything. She never asked for anything, but was willing to do anything for others. She helped raise her brothers and her sisters, and raised 3 amazing children, who all turned out to have the same loving nature as she did. My mother was the youngest in the family, and she has the biggest heart of anyone I've ever met, and it's because of how she was raised. When my brother and I were younger, she would look after us after school until my parents came to get us. She was always so happy to see us, and would always give us 100 kisses and told us how much she loved us. Tears fill our hearts at her passing because of how much we loved her. But death should not be associated with sadness and sorrow. All things that live eventually die. It is a part of life. Life is short and life is sweet. The sweetness of life is in its brevity. We are here for a short time, and we should cherish every moment of every day we are here. Love those around you. Be kind to one another. We are not promised a tomorrow. Tomorrow may never come. Every day we live is a gift and should be treated as such. Love with all your heart, as my Maman did, and make the world a better place. مادر بزرگ من یه آدمی بود که همیشه برای آدمای دیگه زندگی میکرد. از موقعی که یادم هست این بود که چقدر قلب بزرگی داشت. همیشه همه کاری برای آدمای دیگه میکرد. خواهر و برادرای خودش رو بزرگ کرد. 3 تا بچه بزرگ کرد که همه‌شون مثل خودش قلب بزرگی دارن. وقتی که بچه بودیم بعد از مدرسه من و برادرم میرفتیم خونه مادر بزرگم. با خاطره شیرینی بود برایمون. همیشه از من پشتیبانی میکرد و باعث شد که بشیم مردایی که هستیم امروز. همیشه 1000 تا بوس میداد بهمون و میگفت چقدر دوستمون داشت. قلبمون پر اشکه به خاطر اینکه چقدر دوستش داشتیم. زندگی شیرین هستش. ما برای مدت کوتاه اینجا زندگی میکنیم. باید هر روزی که اینجا هستیم خوش باشیم. همدیگر رو دوست داشته باشیم. نمیدونیم فردا چی میشه. هر روزی که زنده هستیم یه برکته. با تمام قلبتون همدیگر رو دوست داشته باشیم. اونجوری که مادر بزرگ من همه رو دوست داشت. مرسی.
I would now like to welcome Joseph Rivani, a family member, to come up and speak.